勝負。皆さん、俺はナナシです。そして、Welcome to Gameplay Shinobi. Today I'm going to review a PC port of Valkyria Chronicles. Now, I quite like the game. I have played it on PS3, and previously it was only exclusive to PS3. So when I found out that it's coming to PC, I decided to make a review of this port. Now, not much has changed since the original PS3 version, but PC port obviously is lower in price and also has all of the DLCs. And aside from that, nothing really changed. Now, PC port of Valkyria Chronicles doesn't have any issues, or at least I haven't found any. So no crashes so far, and all of the buttons are properly displayed on your screen. So if you're using keyboard, you see the buttons that are assigned to your specific actions. Unlike in any other games where you see Xbox 360 buttons on on your display, and then you're using keyboard, and it's quite confusing to figure out what to press. Valkyria Chronicles doesn't have those problems, which I'm happy to say that. Now I'm going to load my save. As you can see, I'm using a gamepad, but if I use mouse and keyboard, I have properly displayed keys on the screen, which is good. But I'm gonna use a gamepad because I find it easier to play on a gamepad since I've played on PS3 using a gamepad, and it's just a bit awkward for me to suddenly move to a keyboard. But that's just me. I'm sure a lot of you guys can handle a keyboard no problem. The game is heavily, I would say, scripted. The story is quite long, and it will take you some time to finish it. I'm not going to focus too much on the story because this is Gameplay Shinobi, so I'm more focused on gameplays and game mechanics. But just to mention, this is like a fictional world where Valkyrias are alive, and they have special powers that can shift the balance of war to one side or another. And it's similar to Second World War, when you had tanks, when you had guns like Lee Enfields, and some of the weapons here resemble Lee Enfields. So it is quite based on that period of history. Now, without further ado, I'll show you some of the cutscenes just to show you the graphics of the game. And I know that not many people will like the graphics, but I personally like them because it's like a combination of anime and 3D animation, and it works well in my opinion. Apart from a little grain, like an overlay of grain, you'll see it. I'm not a big fan of that grain effect, but I'll leave it up to you to decide. I'll skip the least important cutscenes, and I'll show you the animation, because this was like interactive cutscene where you can basically press the button to skip some of the dialogue, but the animations cutscenes you have to watch from the beginning to the end, or you can skip it altogether. Here's one example.
ランドグリーズへの街道が通る重要な地点。この橋の奪還が我が中隊の任務である。
And I was talking about this grain effect. You can see even the shadows have those kind of lines, which, you know,
ここまで驚異的な速さで進行してきた帝
I
国軍だ
guess
け
we're
に、
going to fight over
未だ防衛部
the
隊の兵
voice.
力は十分ではない。我がだ
Yeah, the game is quite loud, and unfortunately, I cannot lower the volume of the voices. This is another issue. That's why I'm skipping a lot of them. We're going to head straight into the battle. I'll explain a little bit more in depth
これより
how the game plays. The game is around 60 frames per second when it plays. Some of the animations and the cutscenes, I think they're capped to 30 frames per second, but that to be expected. Now, straight off the bat, usually all the strategy, and here the Welkin, the tank commander, he went through the river to the bottom of the river, and he's going to attack the enemy forces from behind. So the strategy is already laid out for you, which from the perspective of time feels like it's a wasted opportunity. They could have added a little bit more depth into it, if you know what I mean. Back in the day when I played this game for the first time, it didn't cause any issues, and quite, you know, I just disregarded it. It was a tactical gameplay after all, and I didn't think that adding strategy to it back in the day was necessary. But now, thinking back, I really would like them to expand upon it. Anyways, our objective here is to capture enemy camp. So that means I don't have to engage in useless firefights if I don't want to. My objective is to just get out there, get the camp, and that's it. And us, you know, in the shortest time possible. So this is what I'm going to do. Now, I've played this game, so I know what to do. But a lot of you will try to experiment with different tactical approaches, and that's fine. I'm going to go to do this in the shortest time possible. Bear in mind that I'm not overpowered. I haven't really trained my troops or buy any good gear, because later on after the battle you can go to R&D and basically develop more weapons and armors. How important how important it is debatable. Because positioning your units, sometimes you don't want to, you know, deploy all of the units at once. You want to wait until you capture enemy camp and then deploy your units from the enemy camp. But here we don't have many enemy camps, just one, so I'm gonna deploy all of my units, and I'll make sure that Alicia, Rosie, and Largo are on the battlefield, because these are like your captains and they add extra command points, and command points are essentially your, you know, action points. So if you have more action points, you can do more. You can move around the battlefield, you can shoot stuff, and you want them always on your battlefield, even though some of these scenarios are not requiring, for example, lancers, which is like rocket guys or bazooka guys, you name it. Okay, so I'm gonna put my snipers. I'm gonna put my shock troopers those guys are awesome. They're all-round units. They're very good firepower, moderate movement range, and they can withstand a lot of punishment, so you want them always. Scouts like Noche, they have very long movement range, and they use something that looks like a Lee-Enfield, which is like a rifle, and they have like 5 shots. But later on, you can upgrade those units to have grenade launchers, just like M1 Garand. You would shoot a grenade, pineapple grenade from it. But yeah, it comes much later as they advance in ranks, and they're basically there to scout the area, to show you the troops, and they can actually, if you use them wisely, you can score pretty good headshots and clear the enemy without having your shock troopers to help them. And over here I will use another scout, just because I'm not going to move much from this position. This is where the fight is going to be, and this is where I have to use my units strategically. Of course, some of the players would like to use the tank, which is just to the right, but I've played this before and I want to do it as fast as possible. And hopefully you'll learn something from it. Okay, let's go.
二手に分かれてそれぞれ攻撃と防御に当たるぞ。第7小隊出撃する。
Obviously the computer will explain things to you, so there's no point in me explaining the game mechanics too much. But I like the idea of having those cutscenes in the battlefield, because it adds this kind of connection to your characters, if you know what I mean. Through the cutscenes, you learn about them and you grow a little bit more attached to them. Now, bear in mind that your squad is 20 units. You have 20 units in the squad. Therefore, there's no way that you'll, get attachment to all of the units. Only the main characters have cutscenes, but still, all of the characters, regardless, are fully voiced, except for the cutscene bits. So yeah, you should take care of them, because if they die, you lose them, okay? You have to rescue them from the battlefield by getting the medic. Hopefully I won't lose any troops here, and I'll win the battle. Like I said, I'm not going to fight here, even though there are some troops here. These are scouts, so they shouldn't cause much problems. I will focus on here. This is where the main fight is going to be. Unfortunately, like I said, strategic plan is laid out for me. All I have to do is to be tactical about it. So I'm going to use my sniper to shoot this shock trooper, which possibly can kill a lot of my troops if I decide to go near him, because they cause a lot of damage. So let's do this.
行動を開始する。よっしゃ。よかった。これで少しは楽になる。
On the top you can see my current action points left. Units takes 1 action point per, I wouldn't say turn, but per action. Tanks take 2, so you have to be careful, and they're not as, I wouldn't say fast, but they cannot go very far. So you have to strategically place the tank all the time. Sometimes it's better to use lancers, which is like a bazooka guys, so you can go behind enemy tank and shoot them in a critical spot. But like I've said, I don't have to kill every unit on a battlefield here. All I have to do is get here and capture the camp, and this is what I'm trying to do. So next thing I'm going to use, next unit is the shock trooper, which hopefully will push me through the enemy lines, as you will see. It's important to avoid enemy counter attacks or suppressive fire, I suppose, or you know what I mean, by going from cover to cover, and that you can, you know, basically, so there's an action element to this game, that you can avoid enemy fire, and then you have to be quick with aiming, because once you press aiming, you can shoot them back. Look. So they don't have much time to shoot at you. And obviously the crosshair is quite big. That means that I might miss. But I have... since this is like a assault rifle, I wouldn't say machine gun, but assault rifle, let's just call it assault rifle. It has a lot of shots compared to the Lee Enfields or the rifles scouts are using. That's why your shock troopers are the backbone of your army, and you want to use them. I shot at the head because it takes less shots, and basically usually it guarantees the victory, unless the enemy is camping behind the sandbags, which you can see in the distance. If they're crouching behind the sandbags, they are immune to critical shots to the head, so you have to be careful. Now I'm going to use my scout. You can see he's got a long bar at the bottom. That's your stamina. Stamina lets you go from place to place, and it replenishes once you you know, stop the turn and start another one. You have to spend an action point to do that. Basically, I'm going to scout ahead and see what's in there, and then I can act accordingly. That's the job of a scout. I'm pushing my luck here. As you can see, he caused some damage to me, but if I let him shoot me, I will definitely die, so I need to take him down. And the red guys from the enemy are enemy captains. If you kill them, you basically reduce the action points the enemy has. So it's important to take the specific targets on a battlefield to make your life easier. I was lucky here. Not always it works like this. Sometimes you will miss, and it's frustrating. I still have some stamina left, so I'm just gonna go further up and see what's going on. Okay, there's a tank. So I'm just gonna stay here and hopefully away from the tank. Let me see. This one is nearly finished. If I could go here and kill the scout, because the tank cannot turn the turret too much, which means that, you know, once I go behind the tank, he cannot move until he has his turn, which hopefully won't happen until all of my action points are depleted. So I'm gonna be risky here. This game rewards risky um, you know, risky, aggressive player, I suppose, or a risky player. So I'm gonna use this shock trooper to pierce through the enemy lines. I might lose him, but who knows? We'll see.
行動開始するぜ。よっしゃ。
It's important to finish the round quickly, or finish your turn quickly. Otherwise, you'll be shot by the enemy constantly, and yeah, that you don't want that.
行動開始するぜ。敵発見。当たれ。よっしゃ。
I'm down to half health. I might heal myself because every unit has a what is called Ragnite, which is like a medipack. They can heal a little bit of damage, but I might be lucky and kill the shock trooper. Who knows? We'll see.
行動開始するぜ。
You see, if I crouch, I take less damage, and I'm immune to critical shots to head. I'm gonna use that to my advantage, and hopefully kill the shock trooper who's standing still, not in cover, so I should be able to take him down. Yep, as planned.
味方がやられた。お前ら気をつけろ。押されている。応援を頼む。
Now, enemies that are they have their backs turned to you. They're not aware of your position, which is good. You can flank them, you can shoot them in the back. But my objective, like I've said, is to capture this. Now, unfortunately, I ran out of stamina because each time you use the same unit, he will have less and less and less stamina. And it's a very inefficient way to use your units. You should use more of them. But since I wanted to be risky and I wanted to win this map quickly, I went with this tactic. And there you go. I've captured enemy camp and I won the battle. Obviously, I could have spent way more time to even use my tank. Now, Welkin, we cannot talk at the same time, so mind if you shut up? Thank you. So yeah, I could have taken my time, but for the purpose of this review, I just wanted to show the gameplay, and as you can see, it's pretty fun. When you play it. It might not be as fun when you watch it, but when you play it, you are engaged in constantly thinking, what move should I take? Should I risk it, or should I use a grenade because the enemy's behind the sandbags? Should I use my tank wisely? Should I sacrifice my troop? And so on and so forth. There's a lot to it. And I highly recommend this game, even though I'm not a big fan of tactical games, but this one is an exception. I got a rank A, which is the highest rank you can get, and I finished the fight in one turn. I killed only 2 enemies, but I know you get points for defeating enemies, but you get more points for getting higher rank. So it's better to get the higher rank rather than kill everyone and get the rank F or D or whatever. So yeah. I suppose getting the lower rank, you kill a lot of enemies, so you still get experience in gold, so it's kind of eased out a little bit. But getting A rank later on in the game you will get extra rewards if you get really high ranks from the queen. She might give you extra guns, she might give you, you know, stuff like that. I don't think she gives you orders, but hey. That's another thing I forgot to mention. Orders are basically special abilities that you can bestow on your troops. For example, defense up, evade, or health, you know, restoration and stuff like that. And to get the orders, you either level up your troops, which I will show you in a second. If you go to headquarters, you can level up your troops in a trading field, as the name suggests. I have 7,000 experience, so basically, as you can see in the beginning, you can level up basically everyone. That's just one battle. But later on, it requires much more experience to get to the next level. The drill sergeant told me that there's a new potential out of Lancers. What is a potential? Potential is basically those skills here. You see there's like a 6 left and 2 only unlocked. Some of them are beneficial to you. So like here, standing on a bare dirt leads to boosting concentration, raising accuracy, which is something that you want if you're fighting in a grassy area. Maternal, which is when she's near the close friends, she boosts her abilities, which is also really cool. And that's another tactic you should use. If you have 1 or 2 units next to each other, they all shoot at the same time, which is extremely useful if you're defending position or if you're attacking and you just want to kill enemies, you know, fast and efficiently. Unfortunately, I didn't show it on in my video, but you can do that if you have 2 units close to each other and you start shooting. The other unit will join in and you both will shoot. I'll leave that training field now, and basically it's better if you explore the game in depth by yourself, and there's a lot of reading if you require, if you want to read, of course. And if you put more, you know, depth into it, if you put more time into the game, to actually, you know, take it slowly and read the tactics, buy better weapons, buy better gear, then you'll have much easier time with the enemies ahead, because then you might expect the enemies, they're not sitting still, they're developing weapons as well, and if you're left behind, then you will find yourself underpowered, and it's important to buy the upgrades and read the tactics and use the orders to shift the tides of the battle, if you know what I mean. Now, original Valkyria Chronicles had a lot of DLCs, but one DLC was a blatant rip-off, and I'm talking about hard mode. Hard mode should have been in a game by default. It shouldn't be something that you pay for. And also, they didn't add new stuff like extra units, or they didn't improve much of the graphical side of the Valkyria Chronicles. Nor they didn't add, because there's an anime called Valkyria Chronicles as well. It would be nice to you know, add certain episodes and stuff like that. But nothing like that was added. Therefore, I will end my review by giving the score to Valkyria Chronicles 4 out of 5, which is master rank. There are 5 ranks Grandmaster, Master, Assassin, Novice and a Thug, so I'm giving it a Master rank. So thank you very much for watching the video.